Hospital Porter's pride and dignity stop the New World Order. Welcome to Panwo TV. Welcome to this lovely morning. It's actually very early here in Oxford. It's about 6:30, or just before 6:30, and at this time of year, luckily that means it's light. The sun is up, the sky is riz. Yeah, the grass is riz. Yeah, the reason I'm getting up so early is because I'm off to Anthony Peake's book launch. Anthony is launching his new book, Near-Death Experiences, with quite a long subtitle I can't remember, but I'll show you later. For those of you who watched last night's video, you'll know that I do explain that, because it's the same book I'm talking about there. That is the read party introduction. The reason I'm up so early, I don't normally get up this early these days in my post-portering life, but the reason is I've managed to arrange with my clients to do all my work early. I had 4 tasks scheduled for today, but I didn't have time to get the time. I didn't arrange to get the time off work, so I just said, look, can I do these jobs earlier than I normally do, so I can get them done by like about 11 and then head off for London. This is what I'm going to do. So I'll do those, and then by about 11 AM I should be finished. Can head off for London and should, barring sort of like massive traffic jams, etc., arrive in London by 3:30 in time for the start of Anthony's event. So, well, would you care to join me? This is nice, isn't it? It's actually early in the morning now. It's about 10 to 7. I'm doing my rounds early for reasons I explained in another video. And look at the mist. I'm going to grab a picture of it now, because it might have even gone by the time I get around to the meadow. But look at that. Look at the mist on the. Look at the mist on the ground. It's lovely. The mist on the landscape on the meadow. It's lovely, isn't it? Now, I don't know if this does it credit, but yeah, look. It's still there where they're, especially in the shade, but the sun evaporates it quickly. But there's the fog. It's lovely down here. It's not freezing fog. It is actually pretty cold. It's there's a bit of frost last night. It's only May, but nice, eh? Oh, that's lovely. Look, you see the layers of it. It's beautiful. Lovely mist there. Look, you can even see it just in front of that mound there. In front of the mound. Can you see that? It's shaded from the sun. It's really quite thick. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Wow. Wow, it's a balloon. That's nice, isn't it? Oh, it's the Virgin one. I think it's Branson. A well-known local balloon enthusiast. Alright guys, I'm in Carfax. This is where I saw my doppelganger years and years ago. I made an entire video about that. But anyway, I'm now heading for London. Work is finished. It's warmed up. It was very chilly earlier on. There was even a little frost this morning. But it's actually warmed up pretty nicely. So the weather's looking good. I should get there in time. So I'm now heading for the coast station down Corn Market Street here in Oxford. Alright, heading now for Victoria Station. There are 2 police vans here, goodness me. Someone must have said something very, very rude on Facebook. Anyway, you've seen this place before many, many times. I'm going to just head for the station, charge up my Oyster card. It's actually not far. I'm going to the same place as last time. So, some friends of mine are already there. They've already texted me, so I'm not going to be alone. And I've arrived in plenty of time, so let's go.
Mind the gap, please.
We often across town London, man. It stresses me out.
Mind the gap, please.
There was this guy begging, and he was like, I snapped at him. I shouldn't have. It wasn't quite like the last time I argued with a homeless person. I think I was too hard on him. But, you know, he was sitting there holding up a sign, and I said, I don't donate cash or goods on the street. And he kind of said, why did you come over to me then? And I said, you're holding up a sign, and I'm just answering you. But you know, why did I go up to him? You know, he was sort of like imposing himself in the middle of Street, but that's London for you. What you find is everyone's walking quickly, everyone moves, everyone has to, looks like everybody's got to get somewhere fast. People run, you know, they literally run along here, and everyone is so packed in so close together, it's like sardines. See what I mean? It's very rare I've been on a train and everyone gets a seat. So I'm not a natural London person, me. First thing I do when I come out of that sewer on rails, which is the London Underground. So I'm a bit cynical at the moment. Look around and think, where the hell am I? It's easy to get disorientated when you're underground. So I know where I am, and I'm in a good place actually, because I've got to go up there to the Golden Jubilee Bridge, or one of them. There's two of them, so I'm going up there now. But it's like, it's just confusing. It really is. When I was a kid, I hated these stairs with like gaps in between them. You can't sort of fall through them, but I used to hate it when I was a kid with gaps in the middle, see, like that. Well, the arrows are sort of faded, but it's like Leamington Spa Station the other day. You got to go this way. If you stray onto this side, beep, 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 you got to go that way. If you stray on the other side, you're facing the oncoming traffic. Yeah, it's nice. That's the existing railway bridge, the Hungerford Bridge, I think it's called. And we're going over here, staying within the white line there. I mean, this is the way to travel, I think, by the riverboat. That's the best way to get around London. That's how I used to get the riverboat when I went to Greenwich Skeptics in the pub. Yeah. She's still going, I think. Heading for the Southbank Centre, because Anthony's meeting us there. He's meeting us there at 3:30 before the main event, which is going to be pretty much a repeat of the last event, which was the Cheating the Ferryman 2 years ago. I mean, Anthony's such a prolific writer, he really is. He's written so many books. Is it safe to overtake here? There we go. I didn't hit the other traffic on it. Didn't hit the oncoming traffic. So somewhere over there, I remember. And when we get there, it's always a bit confusing because Anthony didn't. In fact, just like last time, he hasn't specified exactly where in the Southbank Centre he's going to be. And so it's a big place. So last time I kind of wandered around until I saw someone I knew. This time I'll go to the same place we went to last time and assume he's going to be there. Also, I've got some friends already over there waiting for me, so that's pretty good. Right over the middle of the River Thames here in London. This is the same river. You go that way far enough, you get to Oxford, and it's called the Isis. Same river. Yeah, quite grand, isn't it? It's looking more like Dubai every day. But there is Christopher Wren's amazing Illuminati Diana worshipping temple there. So that's still dominating the skyline. Don't know how many, what was it, 500 plus years after it was built. Here we are. I remember that building there is the National Theatre, and I went there when I was a little kid to see Rymer the Ancient Mariner. I remember we took a coach down to London from school. It was great fun. Okay, so there is the South Broad Festival Hall. It's in there somewhere. That's where I'm going to head now. This is my friend Mark. It's Mark of the Crafty Nihilist. There you go. I'm sure you recognise him. He's been on the channel a few times. So just going down these stairs. You see how crowded it is. Hey, how are you doing? Hello, sir. How are you?
Good to see you, mate.
Good to see you, mate. Yeah. He's on. Welcome to Panwo TV.
Oh,
you know
good to
Mark.
see people. Yes.
You know Mark.
Here we are again.
Here we are. Oh, there's Liz.
Exciting times.
Hey, how you doing? Greetings. You know Liz, other half of the Crafty Nihilist. Hello. Say hello to the Panwo TV viewers.
Hello, Panwo TV viewers.
Great to see you both here.
We're here again.
Anthony Peake is here already, hey? You remember him from last time? He's here again. So we're going to hear about your new book this time, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool, brilliant. Is this going to be, I'm looking forward to getting a copy and...
Oh, absolutely.
Was it the same as before? Brilliant. Well, I look forward to hearing your talk and everything.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Great to see you, mate. Great to see you. Anthony Peake is here at the Southbank Centre.
This kind of thing happening
Oh my
around
God!
We're just sitting here with Anthony, having a chat. It's really, really cool.
So there, okay, so this is intriguing. So we have a link at the Temptation.
I've got a story to tell you about that cup
they're
of coffee.
sitting in a coffee shop.
thing.
And as they're sitting in the coffee shop,
I'll do. Anyway, here's Anthony, and there's Mark and Liz, and it's this kind of like Anthony. Well, it's kind of like, and it's Anthony Peake, yeah. So there's a lot of people here, so I won't film them because, well, it's a bit, it could be a bit dodgy, so we'll wait and see. Okay, we're leaving. We've had a lovely hour or so with Anthony and his friends, and we're now leaving to head for the. We've gone a little bit early because, walking's a bit of an issue for one of us, or more of us, or some of us. Yeah, but,
This guy.
so we've gone slightly ahead because it's a bit of a walk over the river to Watkins Books. But I must say, you remember me complaining 2 years ago at the Cheating the Ferryman launch that the place is cashless. Well, it's still cashless now. But I went up there, and this time I did complain. I just said there was a young woman serving me, and I said to her, "Oh, you're still cashless, are you?" And she said, "Yeah." "Have you got any plans of going back to using cash?" And she said, "It's unbelievable." She said to me, "It's just this young woman. I don't know what she is racially. She's got quite dusky. I don't know what she is racially. Spoke perfect English, but she said." We're in oncoming traffic, guys. We've got to go over here. She said to me, "Where are you going?" "Oh no, they've stopped just using cash, and they use the you-know-what disease as an excuse, and they're not bringing it in because they want to do away with cash so they can control everyone." And I thought, I didn't expect to have this conversation with someone who was serving me coffee, and I said, "You're really switched on, aren't you? You know about these things." And she says, "Yeah, honestly, man, that's very impressive." This woman, she must have been about 21, 22.
Good.
And really, and I don't know how many people come up to her and complain because they can't use cash.
You don't expect it in a place like that.
I know, yeah, it's a very, very conformist kind of place. And she said exactly, it's obvious she knows, she thinks exactly as I think about cashlessness. And so I was remarkable, it was great having that conversation with her. So I won't identify her obviously, but she's one of the people who serves coffee in the Southbank Centre. Look at this, man. This is Villiers Street, Charing Cross, London. It's this is literally the human anthill. This is why I don't like this city. I really don't.
I hate shopping.
It has its nice sides, like the telephone boxes and things and all tourist stuff. But I've got we're now walking through this very imposing edifice on one side, and older buildings on that side, and it's literally. I mean, we're in the rush hour now. So it's coming up to 4:30. We're in the rush hour. We've got to get to. We've left early.
Is it the Russian hour?
The Russian hour. Oh, yeah. Putin, come and sort this country out. Sorry, that's treason. But look at the crowds here. Man. Look at it. It's I just can't be doing with this city. But I'm here. I'm Watkins Books. When we get there, I mean, if you watch, literally this video, I think it's going to be a copy of the old one.
Have a look there. I think it's the Queen in a wedding dress. Down a bit. I think it's the Queen in a wedding dress. It's terrifying.
Oh my goodness me! There's Camilla. Oh, we got. It's Queen. Yeah, it's Queen Camilla. There we go. Hey. Oh, well, I think that's actually an old. Yeah.
It's terrifying.
It's quite. Oh, I think it's actually Queen Elizabeth. Yeah. Oh my goodness me. Yeah.
Christ. That's too lightweight for
not shape-shifting, obviously. Yeah. We should make it. They should bring out her true reptilian self. Oh, nice. That's you should get a nice high school. See, there are some good things here, and there's a bridge of sighs. They got a bridge of sighs. Look like in Oxford, but basically that clock's slow. It's not a place for it's a bit claustrophobic here. That's what I'm saying. That's very nice,
nice.
Isn't it? Yeah.
That's to celebrate the recent rulings by the court.
Oh, right.
Real women.
Oh, right. Not
don't have willies.
Not the trans confusion and stuff. Yeah. That looks like somewhere in Oxford. That's nice. Oh, but this is like there's bookshops and there's galleries. This is kind of like a cultural centre here off the hustle and bustle of the main road. And there's Watkins Books along here. Yeah. And there's auctioneers.
Look, Doctor Who.
Sort of.
Don't blink, don't blink, don't blink.
Oh, look, yeah, the Weeping Angels. The Weeping Angels. Oh, yeah. I remember that episode. Yeah, the Weeping Angels. They take you back in time.
Alice in Wonderland.
Ah, it's an Alice in Wonderland theme place. March Pain.
Yeah, I got that.
Children's books.
I got April Pain.
Look, you've got my April Pain. Yeah. Susie and the Banshees. Oh, that's taking me back a few years.
Oh, look, Ben.
H.G. Wells, Wheels of... Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Oh, hilarious. Yes. Drink up, Arthur. The world's about to end. There's more Douglas Adams there. And here we are, it's over here, and Anthony is doing his book launch in what it's the same as last year, so you've probably seen all this before, but if anything's changed, I will show you anything new. And there's, look, the Freemasons,
They need
magic,
to be selling my stuff.
Alistair Crowley, and oh my goodness, I've just done a video about Alistair Crowley. Yeah. Oh, wicked! This is just like a little bit of Glastonbury, isn't it?
I'm in heaven.
Here is the acid test. And I'm pleased to say that they pass it with flying colours. They still stock Nexus. Near-death experiences. This is the book from my read party that I was advertising on the last video, and this is the one we're going to get. So I might get one now, actually. I'm going to, yeah. Well, we might as well get it now, and Anthony can sign it later. Oh, we are now. There's Anthony, and he's in the same place as last time. This is like deja vu, except. Well, yeah, it's interesting. That's appropriate for Anthony Peake. It's like deja vu. But we're sitting on the other side. Last time I was sitting over there, and now we're sitting here. So it's slightly different. But anyway, there is going to be an official video. It looks like. So I won't record it myself. But we're looking forward now to Anthony's little presentation for the book launch, and I have got the copy. I've got my copy of the book there. See, even actually in this shelf beside me, there's some really interesting looking books. It's a really old book there. William Law. Characters and Characteristics. Let's see, a cult book. In Search of Harry Price. Harry Price being the paranormal investigator. Famous in the Helen Duncan story. Secrets of the Great Pyramid. Conversing Spirit. Central Asia History. The Encyclopedia of Psychoactive Plants. My goodness me. Niall, you'd like that. Ontological Graffiti. Right. As opposed to Ontological Shock. Beautiful. It's like really amazing. Yeah, you could really look what's up on there. It's fiction. I checked it. There's none of my books there. But secret societies, astrology, hermetic arts, Western mysticism, witchcraft and Wicca, magic and occult. Yeah, wow. Yeah. I'm sure this is very Panwo-esque indeed, I'd say.
And he got over the problems, a number of the problems that that Michelson had actually mentioned. And he did so by saying that any...
Okay guys, we're in a pub now, it's called the Bear and the Staff. And the Bear and the Staff here. And we just literally come out of Watkins Books, and we had to get out because we needed the toilet, but it was shorter than last time. I mean, there was fewer people, there was one other person I recognised. Apart from that, nobody I recognised. And Anthony, I think he's just going to do a signing and then go. There's no Q&A this time. So it's just like he did his talk and then that's it. But it's very interesting, and I'll say more later. I did get to ask him a question privately about... it was the one I asked... I actually mentioned it in the TikTok video I showed you in the intro, the one about Jimo Borjigin, NDE, the smoking gun, which is that despite the neurological breakthroughs into the NDE, which are significant. I mean, for example, it contradicts the previous notion that Peter Fenwick put forward that there was just flat EG and that was it. That's universal. Borjigin and others have proved that actually the dying and even the dead brain has activity in it. The problem is, and in fact Borjigin understands this because in her talk she understands the limitations of her own discovery. She actually said that there's a qualitative difference to the NDE that is not present in, for example, temporal lobe epilepsy, lucid dreams, DMT experiences, etc., etc. That samosa is huge. Wow, they're really big. Yeah, they're like giant brown TR3Bs. Okay, I'm at Leicester Square Tube Station. I just said goodbye to the crafty nihilist, which is sad. I don't like saying goodbye to people and having to leave. Let's go back to the so-called real world. But as Anthony said, you know, what you think is the real world is not really real. So that's something of a comfort, I think. It's actually quite fun to stand like this on the escalator. And imagine you're like on a travelator at the airport or something, and everyone looks like they're like leaning. They're like leaning over. Do you see what I mean? So you just imagine you're sort of upright. It's an optical illusion that's actually quite easy to maintain once you sit on one of these very long escalators. It's a very long escalator here. Okay, so I've got my new book by Anthony, and I'm about to go home to Oxford. And it's been a very, very interesting day, and as you know, this book is going to be the basis of the watch party that's coming up, if you remember exactly what's going up. It was similar to the last event 2 years ago, although it was a lot simpler, it was a lot shorter and sweeter and simpler, and Anthony didn't hang around to answer questions. That's not a criticism, and we may not have had time this time, or maybe the bookshop didn't want him to do that this time. He did say at one point, I remember, that he was on a very, very tight schedule. But the venue was full up. There were people sitting on the stairs and things like that, which I expected would happen. It's very similar to Maria Wheatley's book launch last year, if you remember the video I made about that. I mean, he moved off from his usual thing, because I mean, he talks a lot about the psychology of the sort of what sometimes called transpersonal psychology, which is in his previous work, which is the underlying point of a lot of what he does. And he uses word. I mean, I don't understand all his terminology. I mean, there's the eidolon I understand, because the eidolon is the conscious mind. It's the temporary conscious mind that we actually have when we're in this identity. I am myself, Ben Lynn Jones, on this planet Earth, and my eidolon is like the part of me that deals with that. But then there's the daemon, which is above that. Which is like the higher mind, the higher self. I mean, it's kind of, maybe it's to do with the bicameral mind, and it ties into hearing voices and stuff like that. There's other things, like there's an egregore, and again, I'll have to look into more what that means. there's the uber daemon, which is, I don't think it's got anything to do with getting a taxi in heaven. I think it is actually simply a higher part of the daemon. It's above the daemon the way that the daemon is above the eidolon. Things like that. So I think we're about to board, actually, so I'll carry on this review later, but maybe when I get home I'll see what time I arrive. It's turned into a very nice evening here. I don't know if you can see any stars up there, but I can see quite a few. Yeah, it's turned very, very nice indeed. So I think I'd say a bit more about, don't know how much you can see of me now. It's a bit like Blair Witch Project, this, isn't it? Anthony starts off by talking about the Michelson-Morley experiment and the theory of the ether. Now, the conclusion of the Michelson-Morley 1887 experiment was there was no ether. This led Albert Einstein, actually, to his own theories. But Anthony doesn't mention this, but actually the experiment has been redone. Nexus magazine reported on this. And it turns out that there may well be an ether after all. I mean, the experiment was repeated and did get results where the light beams did actually move, indicating there was a medium that electromagnetic radiation passes through. Anyway, in the 1920s, sometime in the 1920s, Michelson himself did a speech where he claimed that the theory of everything was coming, and there was going to be a new scientific revolution, and indeed there was, but not the way he thought, and no one thought, actually. There was this, where I saw the ghost when I was a kid, just here, the ghost horses. That's another video. Anyway, you got things like quantum physics and stuff like that. Einstein's relativity took off, and then this quantum physics came along, etc. And And then, of course, the big problem is consciousness. And he mentions David Chalmers in the 90s summed it up very, very well by saying, look, this is one of the big black holes that the black swans or the white crows, the anomalies in the scientific record that can't be filled. And so what is consciousness? I mean, where does it come from? Is it one of the part of the workings of the brain? I mean, the so-called soft problem or easy problem of consciousness, depending on which version of hard you use, what definition of hard you use, that's kind of been sorted out. I mean, through the 20th century, we worked out kind of how the brain works, pretty much. But there was always this hope, this idea that you'd find somewhere an I module, some part of brain function that created self-awareness, qualia, the sense of being, the sense that says I am, and that's never been found. Of course, there's all kinds of answers to this. There's the Daniel Dennetts who say, well, if there's nothing to find, then it doesn't exist. And he and many others have jumped through hoop after hoop and twisted themselves into knots trying to explain this sense that there is a me and I without there actually being one. And as Anthony Peake very pithily puts it, well, who writes your books then, Dan? And the afterlife and things like that. And he mentions things that I've studied, I've actually also commented on, which is the various advances in neuroscience related to the death process. Now, there's two examples he gives of death under EEG. Through complete accident, there were two patients many years apart that both elderly, one female, one male. One was 79 and the other was in their late 80s, who were actually having an EEG of scan, so their brain waves had been measured, and that very moment they happened to kick the bucket. And so it was a unique opportunity, as close as you can get to flatliners legally and morally in the medical world. And they watched them, and as I've said earlier, the amazing things was that there is actually, contrary to the previous idea, which was, which I mentioned earlier, which I actually asked Anthony about, Peter Fenwick and others who said, well, the NDE is always associated with a flat EEG. This is not true. There is activity, not just random activity like epilepsy, but organised activity in the brain. As I said, it doesn't explain, as Borjigin herself explains, it doesn't solve all the mysteries, but it doesn't solve every mystery, but it does indicate there is brain activity in dying, even dead brains for a while. And he also mentions the dream EEG, and he says that when you have a dream and they put an EEG on you, you experience the gamma waves that you do when you're awake. And of course, we know that, as explained in the video about it, the NDE smoking gun video. I think I mentioned that in the film I did last night. But anyway, I did a video and an article about Jimo Borjigin's work, which is called NDE Smoking Gun. And this is actually an organised experiment involving people in profound vegetative state, where 4 patients actually, the relatives very nicely, and I'm sure Dr. Borjigin was very grateful, agreed to allow them to have a deep EEG put on, measured, while the doctors quote-unquote pulled the plug. And the results were very similar to the other experiments that have been done. There's some animal experiments have been done as well. And there's something called idiopathic. Idiopathic is what doctors call it when you have something wrong with you and they don't know what it is. And Anthony says this is idiopathic science. We have a world which we're trying to understand, and we don't know what it is. There's so many mysteries, and mainstream science downplays those mysteries and says, well, they're just little things we need to clear up, rather than being something profound about the universe that we don't understand. And the answer is, what is a hallucination? I mean, there's in a sense, everything we see is a hallucination, because everything is created by the brain. We see things upside down. There's a postage stamp size patch of cells on the back of our eye called a retina, which is creating a world for us. So we see it upside down, the brain turns it the other way around. and it irons out all the little bits and pieces and filters things, and you know, but when people have anomalous experiences, they say, well, it's just a hallucination. If two people see the same thing, like a ghost or a UFO or Nessie, what do the scientists say? Folie à deux, a madness shared by two. What if 100 people see it? Oh, it's mass hysteria. You can't win with the skeptics. And the psychedelics, actually, I mean, there's evidence to suggest psychedelics actually, rather than creating brain activity, they actually dampen down brain activities as if they're actually, I'm trying to find a quiet place to do this, as if it's the brain that gets in the way of these experiences. I mean, this is similar to Jill Bolte Taylor, the lady who had she wrote a book called A Stroke of Insight. She herself suffered a stroke in the left hemisphere, which shut down, and she was subjected to the right hemisphere alone. Ian R. Crane has talked about this, and many others. What Anthony thinks, I mean, Anthony's got very interested in neuroscience, but it's this neuroscience that backs up the kind of like spiritual survivalist idea, because he talks about the astroglial network. Now, this is the 90% of the brain we supposedly don't use, but he says that's the part that really matters, not the neurons, but the glial cells, which is 90% of the brain. And he says if you want to trigger a skeptic or a skeptic neuroscientist, talk about the binding problem. Now, the binding problem is it's one of the paradoxes and mysteries of neuroscience, which is how does the brain operate? How does your brain make sense of the world around it when it's receiving sensory input from different senses in different ways at different times? You know, your ears and your eyes produce stimulus, which is somehow decoded by the brain in a simultaneous way, even though the actual nerves and the brain centres actually operate differently. How does that work? What is actually putting them together? And he mentions David Bohm, and in fact Mark Froud of the Crafty Nihilist has done a big long lecture about David Bohm, which is very interesting, about and the quantum theory and stuff like that. And there's the double slit experiment, which is like which indicates it's something profound, which is, of course, is very famous, that the particles, the subatomic particles, seem to be aware of when we're observing them. And even stranger, near-death experiences are actually cultural specific. I mean, there are some things that seem to be universal, but there are also some things that are deliberately related to a culture. So, for example, the cargo cults of the South Seas, this island called New Britain, which was only visited by the outsiders in World War II, and then very famously they turned these American soldiers who landed there into gods, because they had what seemed like magical powers, such as aircraft and all kinds of tools and things, which was technology beyond what people were used to. And he mentions the UFO connection, and now this is where I've said before, I think there's a problem with this, because I mean, they're not in all circumstances, because some UFO and alien abductions do actually have that pure etheric element to them. But there's something more. I mean, this is paradoxical, because they also have a physical element to them. I mean, aliens leave marks on the body. The alien abductions affect people physically, literally affect them physically. They also aliens, as you know, leave footprints behind, like at Virginia. Aliens also die sometimes, and they leave behind a corpse. So they have this physical element to them, but at the same time, even those physical cases still have this etheric nature, which is really, really strange. Now, he also mentions the DMT experiments and Eben Alexander and his temporal lobe epilepsy and things like this, where he was sitting on top of a butterfly. And this is, of course, takes us back to the DMT experiments with Rick Strassman. Apparently, Imperial College London is doing DMT experiments right now, which is extraordinary. It's an extraordinary thing, if that's true. How they got permission to do that, I'll never know. But I was blown away by all this. I mean, obviously, I'll learn more when I read the book, and that will all be part. I'm actually doing a. If you go to the link in the description box, it's the Afterlife portal. I'm doing a read party for the new book. So how about that? Yeah, so please, I invite you all to take part in that read party, and I'll be reading the book and I'll be reviewing it there. So we'll learn more there. But you know what I found today, what Anthony talked about today, was absolutely fascinating, and you know, I really, really did enjoy. So thank you very much to Anthony for this amazing event and for inviting us all along. And here is the bag there, see, and Watkins Books is the address. And that's where I've been this evening, and here is the book. Yeah, I look forward to reviewing that in the upcoming read party, and Anthony has signed it there, you see. Wonderful. And there is my Liz Crafty Nihilist gallery. It's pretty really good, isn't it? I've shown you that already. I'm home. Yes, I've just got home right now, and it's been a wonderful day. I had to get up early to work, but it was worth it. Wonderful to see the Crafty Nihilist again. They're great guys. Wonderful to see Anthony again and have this really, really brilliant event at the Southbank Centre and Watkins Books. Thank you to Anthony Peake very, very much, and to the Crafty Nihilist. Yep, this is another book, another day for Anthony Peake. I'm sure he's got a few more left in him. He's not a young guy, but I'll tell you what, he's pretty fit and lively, and I think he could write quite a few more books. And thank you, of course, all of you Panmo TV viewers for watching. What's coming next? Well, got a few things planned. Not sure which one is going to be next, but I'm going to have to do another reply to comments pretty soon. Anyway, if I don't see you again, maybe I'll do something before Easter. Have a happy Easter, all of you. Eat plenty of chocolate eggs. Go to church if that's what you want to do, and things like that. Thanks for watching Panmo TV. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.